This your stack. This your stack right there. There you go. There you go.
Robert Jackson, Senator Dick, Representative Clark, CU. Alex Clark. Make sure you. Cindy Colson.
I'm last. That's right.
Yeah.
Call meeting order. I want to make sure everybody's spaced out. They asked us to maybe sit up here if we could, to space out a little bit more. So if you feel like you need more room, members of the Senate and others, stretch out, make sure you're distancing properly. Let me start off the meeting by just giving a little overview about some of the things that we're looking at today. First of all, it's no secret, if you were around yesterday, you probably heard that generally this first action from the Senate is about a 6.5% cut to most agencies, and there are some exceptions, and we'll see those as we get into those later. But I want to let you know, particularly members of the committee and subcommittee chairmen, and particularly, this is a different year, obviously, for the reasons that we all know. And I want to apologize that I didn't have as much time to visit with you about your particular budgets prior to setting an overall number and then working off of that number in making the cuts that we've got in here as first action for the Senate. Keep in mind, this is just first action of the Senate, but the number that we've come up with, for the total Senate action is that number for you. It's $5,486,432,000. When we heard Darren Webb speak the other day, and this is pure luck, I got to tell you. Actually, I wouldn't say it's pure luck. It's due to a lot of hard work from people like Chris Graham right here and other LBO staff and other members. I spent a lot of time up here last week when we were all off, but I spent a bunch of time up here, and the LBO staff and Chris and everybody working hard to get a number that we could rely on. And we were getting, numbers were changing every day. We were looking at revenue picture, and we were looking at forecasting, taking the best information we could get from Darren Webb and his staff as we try to set a number. We had to do the bills before we got back in session. So again, I want to apologize to subcommittee chairman particularly, because we didn't get to talk specifically about your budget. But I do want to tell you, we got time, we've got a few more weeks, and we can talk about your particular budgets because this is just first action. The good thing I feel good about is this overall number. When you take the numbers that Darren Webb presented to us the day before yesterday, we're almost dead on target. And again, I want to give a lot of credit to Chris and the staff. We're almost, to the dollar on target with where they were as what they project for our revenue loss for Mississippi in 2021. Just keep in mind, this is just the 2021 budget. You take their numbers and you take what we had forecasted as of Friday afternoon. We were up here at almost 5 o'clock putting the final touches on the number and then backing it off. And we ran countless models, I want to assure you. We took numbers and we plugged in models with cuts to certain agencies and we moved it around. We tried everything we could to get to a certain point where we felt like we were pretty good on our number. We were trying to be fair about the cuts, but taking into account certain things that we felt like the Senate would not want to touch at this time, or that we needed to extend a cut or add something back in, and that's what we've got. So what I think we'll do today, my plan is that I'm going to call on the subcommittee chairman one by one to start taking up their bills, and I'll leave it up to each subcommittee chair as to how you want to handle that. You can do them in block or you can do them individually. There's not going to be a lot of variance at this point unless you happen to have one of those budgets where we did make some slight changes and you may want to pull them out. If you want to take them up in block, just ask me and I'll entertain a motion to take those up in block. If not, if you want to do them individually, fine too. And we will just do it like we've done it for many years. And then this afternoon, my plan is to be on the floor to explain the entire process and to go over the spreadsheet that we've got as we've done in most years. You'll have a spreadsheet that we'll look at each budget's number, each agency's number, and the cut that they've got on it or lack of a cut, and what their total dollar figure is. So with that being said, if you want to ask me any questions now, or if you want to wait until this afternoon, I'll be on the floor for as long as you want me to be to entertain questions. I can take them now or then. Want to just wait, that's fine, and we'll start with subcommittee chairman. Anybody have a question right now for me before we get started? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to call on Senator Branning to take up the first set of bills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think under the circumstances, what I'd like to do, if it's okay with the chairman, is talk about each one of these and then move for a motion at the end of everything in block. And certainly I'm available for questions on any individual bill, Mr. Chairman, if that would be your preference.
That'll be fine, Senator.
We will start with Senate Bill 2926, IHL, the subsidiary programs. This is certainly subject to the 6.5% rule, and so the Senate action on this will be $76,693,158. The amount of money that would be below LBR is around $2.3 million. Now, this is a massive and complex budget that's made up about 18 individual budgets, and I'm happy to answer questions about any individual budget. In fact, I'll pause right now and take questions on this one before we move further in an explanation, if anybody has questions. Okay, seeing no questions, I'll move to the next budget. That is Senate Bill 2927, the IHL student aid. This is actually level funded at $43,057,546. The next one is Senate Bill 2928, IHL, University of Mississippi Medical Center. The Senate action on this will be $1,691,759,274. The amount below LBR is around $10.5 million. Next will be Senate Bill 2929. This is Alcorn State, the ag programs. The Senate action on this will be $5.9 million. Senate Bill 2930 is Mississippi State University, the ag and forestry programs. $30,863,851 will be the Senate action. $1.3 million is going to be the amount of money under LBR. Senate Bill 2931, Mississippi State University, the Co-op Extension Service Programs. The Senate action, $41,180,401. We're looking at about $1.8 million below LBR for this budget. Senate Bill 2932, Mississippi State Forestry and Wildlife Research Center. Senate action, $6.3 million, about $360,000 below the LBR on this budget. Senate Bill 2933, Mississippi State University, the vet school there. Senate action will be $41,211,586. It will be $1.1 million below the LBR. And then on to Senate Bill 2978, the Senate action will be $1,224,468,554 for about $19 million below LBR on this budget. I know I went kind of quickly through those numbers. Again, generally speaking, at 6.5% cut below LBR, just on the general fund dollars. There's going to be a few exceptions within these budgets, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have on any of these budgets.
Questions for Senator Branning? Not for voting purposes. Her motion is to take these up in block. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, Senator, do you have a motion on the passages of the Senate bills that you just...
Title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Branning. Next up is Senator Frazier. In his absence, I will handle his bill. We've got first of all, Senate Bill 2934. This is the Community College Board bill, not the general support. It's for their Community College Board. The proposed action is $128,056,201. This is the same 6.5% cut, less some EEF funding that they get, education enhancement funding that they get. Any questions about that bill? Not, the motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And then he also has the Community College Support Bill. This is the primary bill that funds our community colleges for their operations within each college. And the proposed Senate action is $632,209,969. And again, they're a little bit below the 6.5%. Is they've got education enhancement funding for that one too. Questions about that bill? If not, motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Next, I will call on Senator Wiggins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill 2936, Department of Corrections. The Senate action is $312,330,716. That represents of the total budget, about $20.2 million under LBR. Happy to answer any questions. Not motion is title sufficient do pass.
Heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Go to Senate Bill 2937. Senate action is $192,450,644, and that represents $6,261,000 below LBR. 6.2 billion below LBR. That the motion is title sufficient do pass, Mr. Chairman.
Question, which bill? Somebody have a question about the bill?
Senate Bill 2937.
Any questions about Senate Bill 2937?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I will say the biggest part of that one, of the reduction, is within the Department of Highway Safety Patrol, and we'll address that. That was at about $4.2 million below LBR. So, yes, the motion is title sufficient do pass.
Any questions? Senator Wiggins. Hearing none, motion title sufficient do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator. Next, I'll call on Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to vote on these in a block.
Motion, you want to just go ahead and take the motion
Yes,
up
sir.
now? Motion is that we take up Senate Bills 29, 38, 39, and 40 up in block. Does anybody want to pull any of those bills for discussion? Not, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2938 is for MEMA, and it has the MEMA agency and the disaster relief. They are both at 6.5% below. 2939 Military Department also at 6.5% below, and 2940 Veterans Affairs also at 6.5% below. They are all 6.5% below LBR.
Any questions of Senator Johnson?
Title sufficient do pass.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Next, we'll call on Senator Michelle for his bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move that we take both Senate Bill 2941 and 2942 up in block.
Anybody want to pull either of those bills to discuss? If not, the motion is to take up 2941 and 2942 in block. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2941 Judicial Performance Commission and 2942 Ethics Commission were both budgeted at 6.5% reduction. That equates to $37,715 reduction for judicial performance and $40,786 reduction for the Ethics Commission budget, both being 6.5%. I move title sufficient do pass.
Questions of Senator Michelle? Seeing none, motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. In Senator Jackson's absence, I'll take up the next three measures, four. These are Senate Bill 2943, which is the Employment Security Office, 2944, which is the Department of Revenue, 2945, which is the Board of Tax Appeals, and 2946, which is the Workers' Compensation Commission. Take those up in block. I'll move to take those up in block. Any questions? Anybody want to pull any of those bills for discussion? Not, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 2943, Employment Security. The total amount here on Senate action is $120,586,837. Also within the State Workforce Investment Board, SWIB, we have $2,805,000. Next is Department of Revenue. Department number is $57,579,695. Homestead exemption reimbursement, $75,385,303, and the license tag commission within the DOR, $3,025,552. Finally, we have the Board of Tax Appeals. I'm sorry, not finally, we've got two more left. Board of Tax Appeals is a budget of $489,638. Finally is the Workers' Compensation Commission. Their final Senate action, proposed Senate action, is $5,182,584. Questions? There are none. Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. I'll call on Senator
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call up Senate Bill 2497, Department of Mental Health budget. Senate action is $570,588,847. That is about $8.8 million under LBR, and the vast majority of the reductions are in salary and like over 700 unfilled pins that went for a period of time. And just as a perspective, The proposed budget of 570,588,847 is still substantially higher than the FY19 budget that we had just 2 years ago, and we are taking no reduction in community-based mental health.
Thank you, Senator Hill.
There are no questions. I'd ask title sufficient do pass.
All right. Any questions? If not, the motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Next, we have Subcommittee 11, Senator Delano, to recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 2948 is the Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway Development Authority. Senate action is going to be $388,600. It's a reduction of $9,792 of first action. If there are any questions, I'll take a motion, title sufficient do pass.
Questions of Senator Delano? If not, the motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Second bill, Senate Bill 2949, State Aid Road Construction. The Senate action on that is going to be $182,709,143. That's a reduction, or there will be a reduction of $42,700,705. That's a 6.95% decrease. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to yield. Otherwise, the motion will be titled sufficient to pass.
Questions? Not, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be referred. Now, Senator Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have Senate Bill 2950, the chiropractor examiners. The Senate action is 6,815 below LBR. For that, are there any questions?
No questions. Senator, you have a motion?
So moved. Title sufficient to pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Next one will be Senate Bill 2951, the dental examiners. Senate action would be $763,077, and it's 53,000 below LBR for the dental examiners. Are there any questions?
Title sufficient to pass.
So moved. Title sufficient to pass.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Next, we have the senator. We have the funeral service board, which is Senate Bill 2952. Senate action is $233,756, 16,250 below LBR. The question. If there are no questions, so moved. Title sufficient do pass.
Heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Okay, the next we have Senate Bill 2953, which is the massage therapy. Senate action is $177,152. The 12,315 below LBR. Are there any questions? All of this will reflect the 6.5% reduction. No questions? I so move the title official do pass.
Motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Next, we have the Senate Bill 2954, which is the pharmacy board. Senate action is $2,670,088. That's $185,677 below LBR. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, so move. Title sufficient do pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Okay, next will be Senate Bill 2955, Professional Council Board of Examiners. Senate action is $171,736, 11,939 below LBR. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, so move. Title official do pass.
Motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Next will be the Veteran Medical Board, Senate Bill 2956. Senate action is 178,912. That's 12,438 below LBR. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, so move the title sufficient to pass.
Title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. All those bills will be reported, Senator Butler. Next, we have Senator Turner Ford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd request that I have the opportunity to explain each bill and then move that they be taken up in block. Senate Bill 2957, Gaming Commission, Senate Action, $8,600,779. Less LBR, $545,416. Senate Bill 2958, Board of Architecture, Senate Action, $331,778, which is about $23,000 less LBR. Senate Bill 2959, Board of Registered Professional Geologists. The Senate action is $123,427, less LBR about $8,500. Senate Bill 2960, Motor Vehicle Commission. Senate action is $335,486, which is about $23,000 less than LBR. Senate Bill 2961, Board of Public Accountancy. Senate action, $598,926, which is below LBR in the amount of about $41,600. Senate Bill 2962, Board of Public Contractors. Senate action, $3,663,415, and that's less than LBR in the amount of about $255,000.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions on any of those bills? Not, Senator, is your motion to take those up in block for voting purposes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, motion would be, Senator Turner.
I move title sufficient, do pass.
Title sufficient, do pass. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Senator Sampson Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to explain these bills and take them up in a block.
Proceed.
Department of Agriculture, Senate action is $15,553,848, which would be $482,784 less than LBR. The Beaver program, $1.1 million. Senate action, and no cuts. Egg marketing board, Senate action, $69,943, which is $4,862 less than Senate action. Board of Animal Health, Senate Bill 2965. Senate action is $2,012,131,000, which is $77,855 less than LBR, Senate action. Senate Bill 2966, which is the Fair Commission. Senate action is $5,398,309, and it's $375,284 less than Senate action. Senate Bill 2967 is County Livestock Show. Senate action is $198,357 and $13,790 less than Senate action. Additional National Livestock Show, Senate action $892,130, $62,020 less than Senate action. The total budget is Senate action is $25,224,718 $718. And it's $1,016,595 less than Senate action. And if no questions, I move we take them up in a block.
Okay, any questions of Senator Jackson? Motion is that we take these items up in block. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And then, Senator, you have another motion?
Title sufficient do pass.
Title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those bills will be reported. Last subcommittee chair for today. Keep in mind, members, that we've got bills that will be coming from the House, too. So some of you subcommittee chairmen, second round, and some of them that reported today will have bills coming for a second round. Some didn't report today. We'll have theirs coming when we get the House bills. After we finish with Senator Polk, we have a couple of deficit bills to take up, too, so we're not done after this. But Senator Polk, you're recognized for...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we take up Senate Bills 2968 through 2977 in block.
Okay. Anybody want to pull any of those bills for discussion? Not. The motion is to take up those bills in block. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senator, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everybody took the 6.5% cut from LBR like we've been discussing all day today. I just hope that we're pleasantly surprised when all this is over, and that's where we are. The only bill that has a little difference to it is the Treasury bills, 2975, 2976. These are kind of standing bills that they have to use to operate with. Primarily 2976 is the big one that there is an increase simply because we have some bonds coming due this year that we've got to pay over refinance, and also the interest payments on those bonds. So with that, Mr. President, if there are no questions, Mr. Chairman, I move that we title sufficient do pass on all those bills.
Anybody have any questions about any of those bills? Not. The motion is title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Let's take these two
Mr. Chairman,
bills up. Yes, Senator Norwood.
could I ask a general question?
Yes, sir.
In the 6.5% cuts that we had to take, did we inquire from the respective agencies if they were able to access all the federal funds that were available to them within the appropriation that we're proposing?
That's a great question, Senator. Like one, for instance, Medicaid is one. You'll see, we don't have that bill in front of us right now, but you'll see, and I'll explain that on the floor later, that there are some areas, we've got some other places where there are maintenance of effort issues too that we can discuss to try to make sure we limit how much money we pull from them because they get matching federal funds. So that's an excellent question. And I think I've kind of alluded to this earlier, that the difficulty in this whole process has been the way we've suspended our session, and that's the reason I apologized at the beginning to the subcommittee chair. I have not been able to spend the time with each of you that I would have liked. This session's gone a lot different than we all expected 2.5 months ago. We would have been talking about each particular budget, and we will talk about each particular budget. That's what I want from here until the time we get closer to conference time. I want to hear from the subcommittee chairs and all members about the concerns about those kind of particular things that we may need to include and adjust. I don't anticipate, like Senator Polk said, I hope things go up instead of down, and I don't anticipate that we're going to end up staying at a 6.5% cut on everybody, because there may be some, because of matching issues, that we might have to plus up some, and it may unfortunately pull somebody else down for us to meet our budget. But that's a good question. We're certainly keeping that in mind, and if anybody has information on things like that, the agencies are here too, I'm sure, and they can certainly tell me and their subcommittee chairs what those do our best job to protect those matching dollars.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions about what we've gone over thus far? And again, I'll be on the floor this afternoon, I presume, take up this stuff, and y'all can ask me anything you want to at that time. We've got these two deficit bills in front of you. The first one is Senate Bill 2979. This is from the VA, and they are seeking additional spending authority of $5 million. These are not general funds, these are federal funds and special source funds that come to them. Most of you know there's been an issue they had to deal with recently, and this $5 million should be plenty to get them through a rough patch that they've had, probably excess of what they need, but this is certainly comfortable enough, I think, to get them where they need to be, and if something happens before we get out of session, we can certainly look at adding to that if we had to. Any questions about Senate Bill 2979? Jackson moves title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And finally, you'll see Senate Bill 2980. This is the Attorney General's request for deficits. Note the amounts in there, various settlements they've had. What they've got. Try to answer any questions if anybody's got about those various settlements. Some of those are for the incarcerations, others are for lawsuit settlements. Questions? Not. Is there a motion?
Title sufficient to pass.
Motion's title sufficient to pass. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. But thank you all for your understanding of this weird situation we're in, and I think we've got a lot of work as we're back in session now, a lot of work to be done on these budgets going forward. Look forward to working with you. Is there a motion to rise and report? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you.